Oh, getting ready for college football. So excited. We're almost there, Chris. Quarterbacks poised to silence the critics in 2025. You're shaking your head. What are you shaking your head about?
I'm nodding.
You're excited?
I see
or are you
Avery
just like...
Johnson on that list at Kansas State. He's going to be playing week 0 in Ireland against Rocco Becht and Iowa State. That's really the first game of the season. In week 0.
I love that. I love that you brought that up. That's great for Avery Johnson in Kansas State. Stop trying to bring Iowa or Iowa State into the conversation. Let's bring in Danny Kannell. Let's talk about some of these quarterbacks here. A lot of notable names on that list. Let's start with Drew Allar at Penn State here. We just got done with Big Ten Media Days. BMAC said, look, I think he's the best quarterback of the Big Ten. I was listening to the Cover 3 podcast where James Franklin said he's the best quarterback in college football. Why has he been so criticized, and what does he need to do to change that this season?
Amanda, it's pretty simple for Drew Allar. He has to step up big on the big stages because that's where he's played the smallest. If you go back to their games against Ohio State or their playoff game against Notre Dame, when he didn't have a completion to any wide receiver on the field at that Orange Bowl, he just, for whatever reason, has not risen to the occasion. And that, to me, is the easiest spot then he needs to step up in those big critical games on their schedule. He needs to step up big. And without Tyler Warren, his favorite target, it's going to put a lot more pressure on him. But he does have outstanding running backs behind him, and Katron Allen and Nick Singleton. They did go out and hit the portal to add some wide receivers to his receiving class, so he'll have some weapons to work with. And so it's that, but I also feel like the best way he can silence his critics, and how easy is this? It's just win a national championship. I mean, that's the best way to do it. No one will care how many passes you competed at anybody. But I do think from a sense that he needs to step up on the biggest stages and play bigger. I think that, to me, is the biggest thing he can do to silence his critics. Because if they go and let's say they make the playoffs and they lose again, but he plays great, that'll get some people off his back. And it's an almost impossible bar to meet to win that national championship. But just he's got to play bigger against the better opponents.
I appreciate that. Easy peasy. Just win the Natty. Like, that's all you got to do, man. Just go out there and win the Natty. Penn State, by the way, the 4th betting favorite to win the national championship. Let's talk about Miller Moss. He started at USC. He was named the starter last season. He was eventually benched in favor of Jordan Maeda somewhere around early November, now at Louisville there. Fun fact about him, 2023, the Holiday Bowl was his first start. USC played Louisville, and he tossed 6 touchdown tosses against that. But what does he need to do to try to change the narrative from last season?
Amanda, it's funny you mentioned that game against Louisville because a lot of times, this happens in the NFL. When you play against certain teams and you play well against them, they remember it. And I wonder if that's one of the reasons Jeff Brom found Miller Moss so impressive was because of that performance. And then he carried it over. Remember last year's opener, he went toe-to-toe with Garrett Nussmeier at LSU, and he had a fantastic game, and they got the win. And then it just kind of slowly came off the rails. And I do think he was scapegoated somewhat. He didn't play great against Minnesota in a couple games when he had some turnovers. So he's got to clean those up. But I do think this is a great opportunity for him. Jeff Brom, the head coach at Louisville, has a history of working with quarterbacks and maximizing their talent. So that's the first thing. He's got a really young, talented sophomore running back that he can hand off the ball to that I think will take some of that pressure off of him. But also he's in the ACC, which is wide open. After you get past Clemson, there is a laundry list of teams, probably about 5 or 6 teams that could elevate right below them and potentially even make a run to the ACC championship. And if you're able to do that, you might be in that playoff conversation. So that's what I think Miller Moss needs to do. He's got the skill set. It was a little bit bumpy. He got benched at USC. But like we've seen across college football the past few years, you make a move, you get in a system that fits you better, maybe some better supporting talent, a better defense. I think Miller Moss could be one of those players that could have a resurgence in a new atmosphere in Louisville.
And I will just say, remarkable human. His home burned down. I don't know if you know this, in the fire. The Pacific Palisades fire just went back there, had a youth camp, donating all the money to that area and those families there. Let's move on, though. Let's talk about Florida State. Tommy Castellanos is coming in. He's already talking trash, coming over from Boston College, and he has that famous quote now talking about Nick Saban's not there to save Alabama. The first game on their schedule is Alabama at Florida State, and this kind of goes back to the whole Drew Allar win the Natty, just go and beat Alabama, man, right?
Yes, Amanda, you are spot on. Like, you want to, like, I would never have done this or said these type of things about an opponent, but if you're going to say it, back it up. And there's a lot of Alabama either former players or current players, and I'm sure that staff has made everybody aware in that locker room of Castellanos' thoughts and how he said, Nick Saban's not there to save him. Well, go out there and play your best game against Alabama. And this one, I don't necessarily think he has to win the game, but boy, he better back it up by going out there and playing and keep them competitive in this game. They are a 12.5-point underdog. And I do think this is another one. Think about the last 2 seasons, Tommy Castellanos in games against Florida State. He either had them beat in Boston College and they lost late, and then last year he went to Tallahassee and beat the Seminoles in their backyard. Think about what that impact that had on Mike Norvell and where he sees him as an attractive option to come in there and play. He's going to be in Gus Malzahn's offense. It should allow him to flourish as a runner and a passer. They brought in 2 wide receivers in the portal, and Squirrel White and Deuce Robinson from USC. He's got some weapons. Now he's got to go out there and back up that big talk that he's been speaking out there this offseason.
I don't know if you're working that day. If not, are you going to go to the game?
Oh, yeah. There's a little birdie told me that we're going to have a presence there at the game. And Damian Harris, who I work alongside in the morning, who is an Alabama grad, might be there as well. So we might have a little trash talk and a little bet to take place, although I better be getting some points.
I was about to say, I want to see a bet there. Trash talk isn't good enough. Let's go to Connor Weigman, who moved not too far. He was at Texas A&M, just, like an hour. I should know this. I'm from Texas. Like an hour and a half from Houston. Is that about it? Don't ask me. Anyway, they wrote an article recently at that school talking about the aura of Connor Weigman. Felt like he was discarded at Texas A&M. They're talking about his leadership, how phenomenal he's been with the team so far. So yet another quarterback who gets a fresh start.
So when you say aura, all I think about is that meme of that little kid on the boat. Like that's all I think about.
Yeah, he could do that,
like
right?
The aura, but yeah, so he had a ton of aura in College Station, but he never lived up to it. I mean, a lot of people going into last season thought he was going to be a dark horse Heisman candidate, one of the best quarterbacks in the SEC. Then Marcel Reed takes over and he loses his job altogether, gets benched. And this one, I think the best case scenario for him is think of another quarterback who played. Now, he played a lot more, but Bo Nix, when he was at Auburn, he was not great. He was up and down, and then he goes to Oregon. He flourishes in a system and maybe even in a league against lesser defenses that allowed him to excel. Now, I think what Connor Weigman goes to is a team that already had their first year under Willie Fritz, where they had some surprise upsets. They beat Utah. They beat Kansas State. Overall, the season was a mess. But I think in year 2 with the head coach, who is one of the coaches I respect the most, he has a great opportunity to play against defenses that won't be as good. I think Connor Weigman can take a big step forward and be in contention for that all Big 12 quarterback honors, which is really deep in that league.
I feel like maybe not in college football, but NFL, like week 1, somebody's going to be doing that kid's dance as a touchdown celebration. Final guy we're going to talk about here. Let's see, who are we talking about? Not Connor Weigman. We're going to Avery Johnson. Sorry, Kansas State. I'm just getting really excited about college football. And maybe more so than outside critics, maybe internally, because it seems like there's so much pressure coming from the team as he returns as a starter to Kansas State.
And think about what happened last year. Chris Kleiman, the head coach, was willing to part ways with Will Howard. That was the starter. He goes to Ohio State, wins a national championship. But because of that dynamic, everybody thought, oh, this kid's going to be a superstar and a surefire home run, Heisman candidate year 1. And he was good, but he had a 2-game blip. They lost 2 games back-to-back. He had struggled with interceptions. And the staff has really talked to him about eliminate some of his mistakes and playing with more consistency. He is an elite runner. He's going to improve as a passer. Everyone's looking for this wide-open Big 12. Who could step to the forefront? I would expect Avery Johnson to make a big jump this year. I think he's got a great offensive staff. He's got some weapons around him. I talked about his dynamic athleticism. Kansas State probably is going to be my pick to win the Big 12 in large part because I think Avery Johnson's going to take a big step forward.
Yeah, dual threat quarterback. Pro Football Focus actually just put out an article talking about how great he ranks with them among quarterbacks in the Big 12. Danny Kannell, who's just always at the top of our list from our quarterbacks. We appreciate your time. We'll talk to you soon. Cover 3 podcast. You can find Danny Kannell, all of our college football experts on there. A lot of great interviews that they just got from Big Ten Media Days, including James Franklin talking about his quarterback in Drew Allar.